What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today, because it is the return of a series that I hold very dear to my heart. Something that I've been waiting for months now to finally return is finally here with episode 1 of season 2. March comes in like a lion. Now, I know this series isn't relatively popular. I know for a fact it isn't, because I remember last season I talked about this. It was one of those underappreciated shows, and not many really cared about it because not many typically care about shogi in general, and even then the context of the show as well, not many typically care about this series. However, regardless of everybody's opinion and just not even caring about the show, I personally love March Comes In Like a Lion, and that is why I want to talk about its first episode of Season 2, because I have been waiting so long to see it come back. I didn't even realize how much I missed this show until I started the episode, and then it's, like, I saw the opening song and all that, I'm like, whoa, I really missed this. Like, it was so beautiful. Like, everything about this episode, it was so beautiful. It was a very beautiful episode. Opening song is that color palette, the animation, the art, just like everything about that opening song was good. It was really good. Studio Shaft definitely went all in when it came to March Comes In Like a Lion this season. Like, they definitely went all in, and I'm not even going to get into that cake scene yet because, like, Studio Shaft all the way. Like, they went all in with that. Anyways, I'm glad to have it back, and if this is your first time ever seeing a March Comes In Like a Lion video from me, I'm just going to say right now, go watch it. It's a good show. It's a very good show, and like I said, I'm very upset that it's a very underappreciated show from, you know, previous seasons and all that. I don't know why, but it's very underappreciated, and if you want to watch it, start with first season. It's really good. It's a really good, enjoyable watch. So anyways, let's get into the context of the latest episode, the first episode of Season 2. So, this episode is more of an exact opposite, a completely different contrast to the start of Season 1. I want to point this out. As we know, Season 1 was a very, very dark and depressing season. There was a lot of sad moments throughout the show, which is one of the main reasons why I got into it, which I think that's obvious. But the reason why I got into it is because it was very depressing and made you want to see how Kiriyama was going to get out of this atmosphere, what he's been going through throughout his life, what led him to make these certain decisions. It was very fascinating and made you want to know more. And we saw how he just was very depressed, he didn't have no one to talk to, no friends, and he just was wallowing in his own misery. And thanks to the course of Season 1, when it finally got to the end of it, we noticed he started becoming a little bit happier. He finally started to open up to people. He started to finally talk to people, make friends and all that, rely on people, and we see he's changed considerably at the end of Season 1. And with Season 2's beginning, we see that it's just a completely radical difference compared to the beginning of Season 1. Like, he's not even the same character. He's not the same person anymore, because he just seems so happy compared to how he was when the series first started. So, one of the big things I just want to mention is that it's just a complete opposite. It's a complete reverse. Series in Season 1 started off completely depressed and depressing or whatever. Season 2 starts off with a happy, fluffy feel, which makes me kind of eerie about this, because judging by how this is obviously symbolic, I wonder if something very bad is going to happen in this season. I'm very curious about that. Anyways, though, I will say that this episode, besides the, you know, I guess happy moments, it was just very fluffy and comfortable, because you had a lot of moments throughout the episode that just showed that he was spending time with his friends. He was in, like, you know, the club and all that. He was watching shogi, playing shogi, but then he was also learning stuff, how to make stuff with science. And I'm like, this is some really cool things to see. I mean, from his character. I mean, a long time ago, you go back, like, you know, in the middle of Season 1, or even the beginning, or even slightly towards the end, he never would have done this. He wasn't open enough to do this with people, communicate with them, talk with them, or even hang out many hours after school ended. He just didn't care. All he wanted to do was focus on his shogi, read shogi books. That's basically it. And so seeing him interact with his friends, his new friends and all that, and he was just spending time with them, not even doing things that were related to shogi either. I mean, he was actually creating, like, snacks and stuff for himself, which proves that he now is open enough to do things that is outside of shogi. He doesn't need it to be able to communicate with people, which just truly makes me smile and happy. mean, I had a smile, like a giddy smile, on my face while watching this first episode of Season 2 throughout the entirety of it. When I was done, when I sat back in my chair and all that, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, this made me really happy. Like, this is happiness right here. Like, this is a type of series that can just leave you with happiness within you, and you can just feel so good, and you're like, how can I be any happier after watching this? And that's basically what happened to me when I was watching this. Anyways, let's talk about some of the things we learned. Soya apparently is not invincible. He is not someone that is undefeatable. It is established within this episode that Soya, he is a very good player. He's like the top dog, obviously, but at the same time, he is not someone that cannot fall, which makes a lot of sense, and it makes this series grounded in realism, because a lot of times when you have stuff like this, shows, literature, anything, okay, not even anime and manga related, but any show, when you have someone that's like the top of the game, like the number one at, you know, anything, they're undefeatable, and they look like a god. They look like someone that just cannot fall from grace whatsoever. And I like the style of writing with this episode, letting us know that Soya is not a character that is undefeatable. He makes his own mistakes, and he has, you know, losses as well. He is not someone that is undefeatable. And when he has a 70% win rate, you're like, whoa, he actually does lose quite a bit. I mean, 70% win rate is pretty high. Like, it's legit high. It's a really high win rate, and it's no joke whatsoever. However, even still, 70% win rate, that does mean that he makes errors. He does lose, and there is always someone better than him. And that's how life works. There's always someone better than you. Even if you're like the best among your friends in terms of playing like a game or something or a certain sport, doesn't automatically mean you are the best, because there is always someone better than you. There's always someone that's going to just completely destroy you at what you think you're the best at. And that's basically what's happening here. But we also get a big, I guess, thing pop up with this episode. Like, what is shogi to these individuals? As we found out, and what we saw briefly in, you know, Season 1, we know that Kiriyama, he is someone that had a very major defeat at the end of Season 1. And he had to get out of this slump, and it was really dark and terrible for him. And defeat is something that many could possibly understand, but not understand, depending on what you've been through throughout your life. In this case, let's put ourselves in the perspective of Kiriyama in his shoes of being a professional, you know, shogi player. If you're a professional, and your, you know, income and all that rides on the fact of winning, then there is a lot of stress, mental stress, put upon you, because if you're not winning matches, obviously you're not going to make money, and you're not going to be able to continue to progress to make money, which in turn, it's not just the fact that the loss makes you feel like you're not good at shogi, but also it ruins the fact that you might not be able to pay your bills. And so that adds a whole new level of stress to it when you become a professional player of anything, actually. And so it's no longer just about having fun, but it's now actually a job. And my dad told me when I was growing up and all that, you should never mix hobby and trade. And, I mean, it depends on the circumstance of how you view this, but if you're someone that doesn't know how to have fun while working, then obviously you shouldn't mix hobby and trade. And what I'm getting at is, let's say you really loved fishing, okay? Fishing was your go-to thing. You loved fishing. That is what you always did when you were off of school, off of work, whatever. You always wanted to go out fishing. But then you find out that you're really good at, someone comes up to you and is like, hey, you know you could be a professional fisher. You know that, right? You can do this for a living and all that. And, well, you turn your hobby into a trade, which in turn makes it to where it's now a job. And so if you're not performing right, then your income's not coming in, and then it could be very stressful. And so what I'm getting at is like, it makes you wonder, is it worth it? Is Kiriyama truly having fun now that he has now turned his hobby into a trade? Can he consider shogi fun? And that, I think, is going to be one of the big dilemmas of this season, what he's going to have to find out. Does he have fun doing shogi? Even though if he loses, it makes him going through a spiral of victories and defeat and misery and happiness back and forth, and how he can easily fall from grace. Does he truly enjoy himself? Does he enjoy what he's doing? So I like the message of this episode, what it's gearing us up for the future of Season 2. So anyways, with that being said though, we also have the stuff with, I guess, finding out that Kiriyama, he's going to need to probably pick up some weird habits as well when it comes to eating in the middle of matches, because it was established that some of our high-level people, the pros in shogi, they have to eat, like, glucose. They're gonna have to have a lot of food while they're doing it to give their, brain energy before they can continue to focus while they're going up against someone. And as we've seen, shogi matches, they can last for a very long time. They're not something that's like that. They're not like a, a game of Halo or anything that can be about 20 minutes or 15 minutes or any game. It's not like that. You have it to a shogi, it can last for hours. It can last an hour, it can last 4 hours, it can last 12 hours, an entire day. We've seen glimpses of this in Season 1. So we know for a fact shogi is not a game that is very short. So it can be very stressful in terms of just sitting there, having to focus. You're obviously going to get fatigued, and so you're going to need to eat something as well. And so when you see them, eating certain foods, like the cake eating scene, so I'm going to get into that now, the intense cake eating scene, I was like, yo, that's so Shaq, just making it so intense and all that, just showing how this man is just gobbling down cake and all that. I'm like, only Shaq can make something this powerful by just a man eating cake. But as he's eating the cake, though, it just shows that he's so focused on what he's doing that he doesn't even have time to really, like, eat it delicately and properly. For instance, cake. Because normally, if you're eating cake, you want to take it slow. You want to, get a fork or whatever, eat the cake, and, enjoy it. But you saw the man grab the cake and just started, like, wolfing it down, which emphasized the fact that he did not have time to focus other energy with his brain on other things. He just needed to get that cake down and then focus on what was going on before him on the board. So like I said, I like the concept of that. So that's about it when it comes to the latest episode of March Comes In Like a Lion Season 2, Episode 1. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like my video, please leave a like. And if you don't like my video, well, leave a dislike as well. I mean, I understand everybody has an opinion. So, yeah, if you want to support me, if I could continue to focus on YouTube, please go in the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. It really does. And so, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.